Now, this is a follow up after my summary video, and this is my thank you portion of the video. I had initially, this is kind of the second take, so um, first take when I split it, it didn't work out well. The whole thing was too long. Anyway, um, so I've got several people here that I really have to spend some time saying thank you to, because without some of these folks, um, by and large, the trip just wouldn't have happened. Um, I don't have a real specific order, but first, I want to say thank you to all the folks at Outdoor Experience in Cookeville. Heather, Call is the owner, Sawyer Campbell's manager. They were absolutely awesome to me. Pretty much every single piece of gear I buy from them whenever possible. Every single piece of gear I either bought from them or I consulted with them prior to buying. Everything except my CPAP. So um, they were absolutely awesome to me. You know, and I have a bit of a philosophy about this, being old guy, old school. Um, I think I like the concept. I like the idea of walking in, looking someone in the eye, and buying from them. Um, I do buy things online. I don't hesitate if that's a need, if that's a necessity, if it's a product that they don't have. But by and large, even if I pay a few dollars more at the local shop, I like buying there. One, it supports local business, and two, it gives you a very specific recourse. You know, and I've had several occasions where things happen with gear. You know, and there's certain pieces of gear, you know, trekking poles I've been rough on. I bend them, break them, or leave them somewhere. So I've got another set now that I think might be my favorite set so far. I'm not sure, so I'm gonna try to hang on to them. But the fact is, when I snapped the last one, I walked in and it was warranted. So um, you just can't. I can't say enough good about that, and enough good about that shop, about that store in general. Um, and on a similar note, when I went on a rant about my NOC experience. I think on day 5, in a day 5 video. But day 4, I'm resupplying at NOC, and we walk in, and the people were basically like zombies, just kind of stared at us. Um, the only thing we got in the way of customer interaction that we didn't seek was when we walked in the door. Um, Go this way, keep 6 feet apart, kind of a speech, and that was it. So I had to hunt people down. I don't have a problem with the store being shorthanded. I don't have a problem with it being someone's first day. The young lady that I first got to try to help us, it was her first day. She had to go look for answers elsewhere. Um, I don't have a problem with that. We were all new once, so that's fine. What I don't like is being ran off and left and just completely ignored. So NOC has a great reputation. The Bryson City folks, by and large, from everything I've read and heard, are awesome. The gloves I wound up buying are a great product. I did, from inside NOC Gatlinburg, I did call back to Outdoor Experience in Cookeville and talk to Heather and get product information, which I shouldn't have had to do. That's no bueno. So I got a good product. I was happy with the gloves. I like them still. I'm going to keep them. And I had a bad experience there. Didn't get a bad product, but I had a bad experience at that store. I don't know if that's indicative of how it is all the time. I don't know. But my point is, the local shop, I do business there. I trade there. I believe in it. I believe in what they do. Second, thank you, Jeff and Debbie Riddle. I don't have enough words. I just don't have enough words. I don't have enough superlatives, for how gracious they were to me and how gave me major trail magic. Took me in, fed me, offered me comfort that I didn't know I needed. Um, Took me to the trailhead the next morning, and then when I came out, Marty, who I want to say a big thank you to, who I'd met night 7, and who I walked out with on day 8, and who gave me a ride into Newport. I'm sitting in Newport and thinking, well, at least I can get to a motel, and if it takes me a day or so to arrange shuttle, that's fine. But I text Jeff, said, how busy are you this afternoon? And he texts me right back, says, finishing lunch, what do you need? Told him where I was, told him what I was asking him to do was to take me back to 20 Mile. I couldn't have been a little better and come out somewhere closer to the car. No, I had to come out as far away from the car as I could get. But without a complaint, without a moment's hesitation, he came, picked me up, drove me around the world to get back to my car. So I don't have enough thank yous for that. Marty, I mentioned, wise guy, wisdom, gave me great input, and gave me a ride. Young Michael that Marty had met on Thursday night up on Mount Sterling, and who had come down, he walked out with us. Got a note from him a few days after coming off the trail, and very gracious, and I'm very thankful to have received it. This is another really big thank you that I probably should have mentioned earlier. I have not yet, I've not met this lady face to face. I was researching, getting ready for the trip, found a trip report she had written, reached out to her through her blog, through email, and she was an absolute gold mine of information. Gracious, encouraging, completely understood the concept and bought into the concept of what I was trying to do, and encouraged me in it, and I can't say thank you enough to Nancy East. If you haven't looked her up, you get a chance. Her website is Hope and Feathers. She is an avid hiker. Did an FKT attempt last year, early this year, and owns the record for fastest completion of all the trails in the park. Smashed the prior record by like 4 days or something ridiculous. So, she describes herself correctly, as I've learned, as an outdoor educator, and she doesn't just talk the talk; she walks the walk, and so kudos to her, but also many most heartfelt thank you very much. This isn't the last, but next, I want to thank all the family and friends who supported me, encouraged me, prayed for me. You know who you are. Sent me messages. One of the cool things about being out on the park perimeter, a lot of nights I still had signal, so I could get that. But all these people too, a lot of these I shared my tracking data with from my Garmin, so they were following along, and so thank you very much. Last but not least, I want to thank my wife, Shelley. She puts up with my craziness. She came up on day 4 from a resupply, brought me a box. So thank you. That's awesome. I appreciate it, honey. I love you. So that kind of sums up my thank yous. Cover a couple things. One is trail information. Where do I get it? Where did I come up with it? How did I plan the route? How did I come up with all that stuff? First, I want to show you some old school stuff. Any new hikers among you might or might not remember this book. This book used to have kind of silverish letters on it, and I have worn them off. It is the hiking guide to the Smokies, and for years until this map came out, there was a map in the back of this book that I'd torn out, and I used the map out of the back of this book for a long time. My dog is unhappy and not feeling well. And this was a book by Dick Merlis and Constance Stallings that, to my knowledge, 30, 35 years ago was the guide to have. This was one of the first of its kind when it came out. Trails Illustrated topo map of the Great Smoky Mountains. It was supposed to be a map that you couldn't tear. Handed that to my oldest son. Proved it wrong quickly. But an older map, got some of the old stuff, got some of the old manways and stuff like that in there. Anyway, archaic relics. Now, this is the map of the day. I'm not going to bother to open it up, but if you were to look at this closely, you might see some green highlighter on trails, and I'm going to try to knock those out. And now, for guides, I think most everyone knows the Brown Book. That's from the Smoky Mountains Association. I recommend it highly because it's got elevation and that sort of thing. In addition to their guides and some history, these two are the guides by Ken Wise. This second edition, this green one, is the more current. This is the first edition. The first edition has a lot of manways and things like that are not contained in the second edition. So I recommend them both. He has, it is a huge volume of historical knowledge that's been poured into this. And you get out there and it's not just being in the mountains, but it's understanding some of the context, the history of it, and it's good info. It's a good thing. Those are good reference tools to have. This is Elizabeth Etner's Day Hiker's Guide to All the Trails in the Smoky Mountains. All of these guides, in my opinion, are complementary. They're not contrasting. I think Ken Wise wrote the foreword in this one, so the more information you have, I think that the better off you are. Kind of summing up pretty quickly. I've had several questions. What was your hardest day? What was your easiest day? Or what was your best day? What was your worst day? That one specifically, I've had that several times. Well, best day, worst day. Day 2 was probably the hardest day mentally, and I'm not really sure why. I was rested, felt good. I don't have an answer. Certainly, coming up Rich Mountain at the end of the day was a sting in the tail. That's 2 miles at 700 feet a mile, so it's a good climb. But I don't really understand why that day was quite so hard. Physically demanding probably, and intimidating probably was day 5. That 23 and a half or 23 plus mile day. And I would never recommend anyone to do any part of Old Settlers Trail in the dark. Just wouldn't. That's probably not an experience I'll repeat in the future. But the fact is, I loved every single day of it. The worst description I have for the entire trip is that it was awesome. It was a wonderful thing that I am so delighted I attempted. And I'm going to go back. I think I said this in my summary, but my intention is to go back and finish the loop. Who knows what I'll do in the future. I get a couple more years down the road, but it was an awesome experience. I'm happy I could do it. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing it with me in that sense. And I'll be doing more videos later. But now, as always, get my remote here because I'm signing off. But as always, thank you, and onward.